Boom, 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 Mr. Stevie's toy tales. I did pretty well. We are live. Live. Welcome to season 2, the return, the revenge. This time it is personal, of Mr. Stevie's tall toy tales. I'm getting better at it. I don't know where this is going to go. All I know is that I'm going to be sitting here in widescreen. Look at me. Look. I'm all the way over here and I'm all the way over here. I'm just going to talk about the toy industry, collecting toys, my toys, the collection, the community, talk about me, talk about you, but I don't know where it's going to go. But I know that I gabble a lot and I know I talk a lot. So I'm going to put a little bit of a time restriction. And I was thinking, how long should Tall Toy Tales be? And as it's such a tongue twister, 10 minutes sounds good. So let me just put a little timer on. Alexa, let's go live. You have 10 minutes to talk toys. All right. Where do we begin? Well, I've heard that the beginning is a very good place to start. So for those of you, for those of you who don't know who I am, they're like, who's this guy with all the toys behind him? My name is Steve, Mr. Stevie, Steve Evans. Stephen, if you're my mother and I've been naughty, or if you want my birth certificate, Stephen Charles Howard Evans. For some reason in the Evans family, we always have 2 middle names. We're overachievers, clearly. But I am 50 years old. The grey hair shows. And I've been in the toy industry for 25 years now. And I've been a toy collector for, goodness me, that sounds bad, 34 years. I kind of started officially as a toy collector when I was around 16 years old. So 34 years. And I am a graphic designer by trade. I went to university in Brighton on the south coast of England in the early 90s. And it was a good school. It was a great school. And I remember setting up our exhibition, our final exhibition, everyone going, you're going to get a job, you're going to go to London, you're going to be a graphic designer, you're going to be super cool, super trendy, and you're going to earn money and be incredible because you're from Brighton. It's amazing. And it didn't work for a year and a half. I couldn't get a job. I came out of Brighton University and I applied for 60 jobs. I had 13 interviews, one of which I actually went and lived with the owners of this design agency for a week. And I worked for them for a week for free. That was my interview. And they didn't even have the common decency to tell me if I've got the job. I remember weeks later, I rang them up and I was like, hey, hi, it's Steve. Yeah, that guy that lived with you for a week. Did I get the job? And they went, no, we gave it away. So we gave it to someone else. Sorry. And I was like, oh, well, thanks for letting me know. And I was like, what the hell? What do I have to do to get a job? I went to a good school, going to all these interviews. And in amongst all of this, I heard that Hasbro were hiring. And I was like, I'm a big Star Wars fan, by the way. In case you haven't noticed, I was a big Star Wars fan. I bought and sold Star Wars memorabilia through college and university. And maybe that's another Tall Toy Tale we'll get on about my experiences in collecting and buying and selling. But I was big Star Wars fan. I was like, if I work for Hasbro, I will get free figures. I'm going to work for Hasbro. I've decided. Should I work for? Yes, work for Hasbro. Right, Hasbro. Wrote to Hasbro, applied for the job, didn't get an interview. Damn it, not again. I wrote back to them. I was arrogant in those days. I know it's hard to believe. And I wrote back to them and said, look, I really want to work for Hasbro. I really want to work in the sort of toy industry. I think I could do something for you. And I really want another chance. So anyway, clearly they kept this letter on file because a few months later, another job came up for Hasbro. And before I even applied, they invited me to apply. They said, hey, Steve, come in and have a chat. So I thought, okay, right. I've had 13 interviews. I've failed all of them. I've got to do this differently. And I thought, I'm going to change the angle of my approach because up until then, I'd gone into interviews and spoken about myself and gone, hey, I'm Steve. I went to Brighton University. Here's my portfolio. This is what I like to do. Look how good I am, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't working. So I thought, I've got to do something different because I really want this job. So I thought, I'm going to make this interview about them and not about me. I'm going to turn the tables, literally. So I went in to my interview for Hasbro in 1999. And I said, hey, I'm Steve. I went to Brighton. This is my portfolio. Not interested in that. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you, Hasbro. I've done a project for you off my own back. I've redesigned your travel games. I remember redesigning Battleship in particular. And I said, these are the things I'm noticing and observing. I think these are the things are good. And these are the things I think could be improved. So I've gone and sort of made changes and I've done this little project for you. And they were like, oh, cocky sod. Oh, but, oh, ah, you got the job. And I got the job. And that's one of my first kind of big eureka moments where I was like, oh, you know what? It's not about you. It's about the other people. So I got into Hasbro. That was in 99. And I've been with them 25 years, nearly 25 years next year. That's a long time. And it's quite scary when I think about it. And I often catch myself thinking, you shouldn't be with a company that long. But I will hand it to Hasbro. They've given me a very flat playing field. It's allowed me to do lots of different things, and I get bored quite quickly and to try out stuff and make my own stuff up. So I went into the job in 99 as a graphic designer. I was doing packaging for Action Man, which is the GI Joe equivalent, the European GI Joe equivalent. And I moved into doing style guides for Action Man. And then we were making an Action Man cartoon called Alpha Teens on Machines. And I was involved in coming up with names and style guides and character designs. And we were working with TV. And then I changed and I ran Monopoly for 3 years, total global creative lead on Monopoly, where I redesigned the game board and I redesigned the logo. I worked with Carl Lyons on the new Mr. Monopoly, who you could still see today. That's me and Carl coming out with his new design and using CG and computer graphics. It was computer generated imagery. It was very new back then. And I did that for a long time, and that was really interesting. And then Hasbro started moving into TV and movies, and we had the Transformer movie. And I was like, I like this graphics, but sort of branding and storytelling. Can I get some more of that, please? And they were like, yeah, you can, but you've got to move from the UK over to the US because that's where it's all from, right? So my kids were 7, and I got 2 twin girls who were 3. And I said to my wife, should we go? And she was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it now. If we don't do it, we'll never do it. So I came across the pond to work on TV and movies. I worked on Transformers Rescue Bots and Chuck and Friends, which are little kind of preschool TV shows. And I did lots of other stuff, which I can't talk about, which was really exciting. And then I moved a little bit. I moved from there and I did some work on app development. I helped develop Telepods and Angry Birds partnership we had. So we were working on being a producer for app developments and interactive digital toy interfacing and all that jazz. Did that for a while. That was really interesting, very different. I did some more work on branding and packaging, where I set up a department of brand designers and packaging designers. And then I heard the rumor. I heard a word that they're going to do another. Actually, I'll do it secretly. They're going to do another trilogy for Star Wars. It's a sequel trilogy. Don't tell anybody. And I was like, oh my God, what? Wow. It's got to be like the biggest toy line in the world. Like that's huge news. And one of the design leads came up to me and he said, "Hey, Steve, you ever considered running product design for Star Wars?" And I was like, "Me? No, me? No. I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know anything about plastic. I don't know anything about plastic." And he was like, it doesn't matter. You're going to be surrounded with people that know about plastic. And I don't know. I think you should go for it. I think you should interview for it." So I interviewed for it. And I remembered all those years ago about turning the table. So I came in and I said, this is what I think we should be doing for Star Wars. This is how it's the same. And this is how it should be different. And miraculously, I got the job. I got my dream job. And it literally was my dream job, to run Star Wars toys. I'd been a Star Wars fan since I went to Man's Chinese Theater when I was 5 in LA and heard the X-Wings and TIE fighters zoom over my head, and I was just blown away. So I'd reached my pinnacle. I'd reached the perfect moment. Uh, that year was tinged sadly with the sudden passing of my father. He got pancreatic cancer and died in a matter of weeks, and I didn't get to tell him that I'd got my dream job, which is difficult. And I did that for a number of years, and we'll talk about that in another toy tales, I'm sure. And then I did some other little bits and pieces with consumer products, which is where I create style guides and trend guides to help other companies make products for our brands. So I worked on Transformers and My Little Pony and Mr. Potato Head and Nerf and things like that. Did that for a couple of years. And then I came back into the toy product fold, working on Marvel, which is where I'm at now. I've been doing that. How long is that? Just over 3 years. So those 25 years within Hasbro has been doing lots of different things, has been jumping into deep ends of pools like, hey, Run Star Wars is only the biggest toy brand in the world at the moment. Fancy it? Yeah, why not? And I thank Hasbro for that. And a lot of people send me notes, DM me in Instagram or whatever. They say, how'd you get into the toy industry, Steve? I really want to get into it. And I don't really have a magic key. All I will say is get in. Just get in and do whatever you can to be in the company that you feel fits you or that you have a passion about, or they have brands that you have passion about. Go in and just find your way. Create new departments. Oh, and that's the end of our 10 minutes. We'll carry on this conversation in episode 2, but for the time being, bugger off, and I'll see you next time.